members turn on their cameras during the roll call for attendance as well as for voting. I now ask Rebecca to start the roll call to determine member participation.
Good morning. Annapolis,
Here.
Anne Arundel County, Baltimore City.
Here.
Thank you. Baltimore County,
Here.
Carroll County,
Here.
Harford County,
Here.
Howard County,
Here.
Queen Anne's County,
Here.
MDOT,
Here.
RTA of Central Maryland,
Here.
MDOT MTA,
Here.
Maryland Department of Environment,
Here.
Maryland Department of Planning,
Here.
FHWA,
Here.
and FTA. Did I miss anyone? Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Our first item is the approval of the minutes from our August BRTB meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Hearing nothing, can I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Baltimore City seconds.
All right, having a motion and a second, are there any edits from the members? Hearing none, we will now vote on approval of the minutes. When your name is read, please indicate a yay or a nay.
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore City,
Yay.
Baltimore County,
Yay.
Carroll County,
Yay.
Harford County,
Yay.
Howard County,
Yay.
Queen Anne's County,
Yay.
MDOT,
Yay.
RTA of Central Maryland,
Yay.
and FTA. Thank you.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Now we're going to move on to our public participation opportunity, where we offer the public a chance to speak to the board. If anyone has comments on any action or any of the action items, please wait for that item to be discussed. If there's anyone who wishes to address the board at this time, please indicate so in the chat box.
See, Mr. Chair, no one sent in any comments prior to the meeting, and I'm currently checking on the chat box. Currently, there is no one requesting to speak in the chat box.
Thank you. Since we now move to the action items, Todd, please introduce the first action item.
Certainly, 1 second while I pull up the presentation. Today, the BRTB is being asked to consider Resolution 25-9. This resolution is a request from Howard County to add a traffic signal and crosswalk improvement program to the 2025 Transportation Improvement Program. Howard County is requesting about $1.28 million of federal funding through the HZIP program for improvements at 5 intersections that connect residential to commercial areas. These locations include Cedar Lane at Freetown Road, Owen Brown Road, Broken Land Parkway at Cradle Rockway, Harper's Farm Road at Beaver Kill Road, Longgate Parkway at Wheatfield Way. The purpose of this scope is to do a complete reconstruction of the traffic signals. We're going to be adding new crosswalks, audible pedestrian push buttons, countdown pedestrian signal heads, and LED streetlights. There will be signal backplates included as part of this reconstruction, and there's going to be reconstruction of the sidewalk ramps to meet current ADA standards. There's also going to be signal phasing improvements, and there's going to be no additional vehicle lanes added as part of this project. The design is mostly complete, with most of the intersections at 95% complete, and that engineering was fully funded by Howard County. The NEPA approval is close to complete and just needs this as an action item for formal approval. And the right-of-way and utility certification is pending, and construction is anticipated in the summer of 2025. We do have online Mr. David Cookson, the Deputy Administrator from Howard County Office of Transportation, in case there are any questions. But meanwhile, we would now like to ask the BRTB to consider Resolution 25-9. Mr. Chair?
Yeah, I'd now like to ask a member to move for approval of the resolution and to get a second.
Howard County moves.
Annapolis seconds that motion.
Very good. Being moved and second, does members have any questions or comments about this resolution?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question from Annapolis. The word countermeasures used in the project description. I hadn't seen that term before. What does that mean?
Let's see, countermeasures. That might have been a misprint, unfortunately. So we'll go back and check on that and try to get back to you just to see what that is referring to.
Sounds good. Thank you, Todd.
All right, we now ask those online, please indicate if you'd like to comment in the chat box.
Mr. Chair, currently there is no one requesting to speak in the chat box.
Okay, we'll now proceed to the vote. Again, with cameras on, when Rebecca reads your name, please indicate yay or nay.
Annapolis,
Yay.
thank you. Anne Arundel County, Baltimore City,
Yay.
Baltimore County,
Yay.
Carroll County,
Yay.
Harford County,
Yay.
Howard County,
Yay.
Queen Anne's County,
Yay.
MDOT,
Yay.
RTA of Central Maryland,
Yay.
and FTA. Did I miss anyone? Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. The resolution has passed. This meeting, that MDOT Secretary Paul Wiederfeld has graciously accepted our invitation to provide a short discussion on the draft fiscal year 2025 to 2030 Consolidated Transportation Program. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to see everyone. I wish we were in person, but it's still good to see everyone. So good morning. Today I will be brief, focusing on an update of the department's finances, since it drives the investments levels for the projects and services in Baltimore metropolitan region, as you all know. My remarks may also sound a little familiar to some of you, as this has been basically a discussion we've had throughout the entire state as we wrap up the annual tour of the program, which actually finishes today in Harford County, and I will be jumping off shortly after our presentation, if you don't mind, to get up there for that final meeting. I did want to, before I get into the actual program, though, I did want to talk a little bit about the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The collapse, obviously, of this iconic bridge and loss of the 6 workers continues to have tremendous impacts on the communities and the commuters and the businesses. And I'm sure you all have experienced it. I know I do every day. And so I want to just thank you for your continued partnership during these obviously tough times. The department has taken a holistic approach to mitigating congestion on the transportation system by promoting alternative options and resources during this period of reconstruction. The Commuter Choice Maryland program is working with businesses and commuters to promote options like transit, carpooling, teleworking, or flexible work schedules. We've especially focused our efforts to provide employers and commuters with programs and resources in the Baltimore region following the destruction of the Key Bridge. I ask that you please amplify these efforts and share with your constituents, businesses, and workers. Again, the more we have people use these other alternatives, the easier it will be for everyone. In addition, the State Highway Administration works closely with Baltimore for the BMC working group on traffic patterns. The working group analyzes the data to inform us if any system changes are needed. MDOT will continue to work closely with BMC, local partners, and your teams to mitigate any traffic issues that impact neighborhoods and local roads. The MDTA, the Maryland Transportation Authority, is on a fast track to rebuild the bridge over the next 4 years. In August, the MDTA board approved a contract for the progressive design builder. Just to be clear, and I'm certain you all know this, but just to reinforce for anyone that may be listening in, the MDTA is funded through the toll revenues it collects and is separate from the state's Transportation Trust Fund. We continue to work with Maryland's federal delegation on a bipartisan and bicameral legislation to get the 100% emergency relief funding by the federal government to rebuild the Key Bridge. The timing and amount of that funding still is uncertain, and we'll see when the Congress comes back after the election. We will make our efforts very strong again during that period. Regardless, the state will pursue the Dowley and its owners for all the costs to rebuild the bridge and all the damage suffered by the state. And we joined the state's attorney in doing that very effort. Now, turning to the department and some of our financial challenges that we're facing. As you may recall, last year's CTP required a $3.3 billion in reductions between operating and capital budgets. Thanks to the governor's one-time funding from the state's rainy day fund and the additional estimated $1.8 billion in revenues passed by the General Assembly last year, we were able to reduce the level of reductions needed to balance the budget. For example, these funds were able to maintain commitments to the local governments to restore hyper-use revenue and locally operated transit grants, which is very important throughout the Baltimore region for local governments. Turning now to this year's draft CTP for fiscal years 25 through 30, the department continues to face significant budgetary challenges, really from 3 reasons. Continuous relatively slow growth of the state's economy, the rising cost of labor materials, and revenues coming in lower than projections. For example, the motor fuel tax, which is the Transportation Trust Fund's largest source, has come in roughly $350 million lower than our projected revenues for that source. At the same time, our operating costs have increased by roughly $300 million. Again, this is over the entire program period. As a result of these financial pressures, the department is making strategic investments with our limited resources to further enhance the safety of our system and maintain operations. So really focusing on the safety and the ongoing state of good repair and preservation of the system. Getting into the details, the draft CTP is balanced at a total of $18.9 billion. So we have to have a balanced budget in the draft as well, obviously in the final. And so there's still a lot of work going on, but nowhere near the level that we would all like, I think, to support. So because of these fiscal constraints, we had to make some tough decisions and reductions to live within our means. This resulted in a reduction of $1.3 billion compared to last year's final CTP. But even with these reductions, we're committed to strategically using available resources to advance the state's priorities. The number one priority, obviously, is safety, the safety of everyone using the transportation system, including those who walk, those who bike, and those who work on the transportation network. For example, this summer, I did sign an updated department-wide complete streets policy. The updated policy will support Maryland's Vision Zero goal to rapidly reduce traffic fatalities and serious injuries to zero by 2030. As you may be aware, last year, more than 600 people were killed on our roads, and of those deaths, more than a quarter were pedestrians and bicyclists. The state highways are already moving through planning, design, and construction phases to transform 5 corridors in Maryland into complete streets. This includes along Maryland 150 Eastern Avenue in Essex and Howard County along US 1 in North Laurel. We have also partnered with the Smart Growth America to host the Complete Streets Leadership Academy, aimed at deploying cost-effective, quick-build safety pilot projects, including in the town of Bel Air. These projects are targeting areas with a history of traffic fatalities or crashes. In addition, we continue to partner with local governments that seek federal grants to invest in needed traffic calming and pedestrian safety improvements. This includes recent partnerships with Baltimore City, where we supported a submission of a Reconnecting Communities grant to advance design and construction for the West Baltimore United Project. MDOT is also supports Maryland's climate goals. This summer, MDOT is in partnership with our regional partners and awarded $11 million in federal carbon reduction funding to local jurisdictions in Maryland. We greatly appreciate the Baltimore Regional Transportation Board working with us to award these funds in the region. This included everything from creating new shared use path in Howard County, supporting local government fleet transitions in Baltimore City, and replacing old streetlights with energy efficient LEDs in Anne Arundel and Harper County. We also recently received a federal grant to reconstruct berth 11 at Dundalk Marine Terminal. This critical Citigo repair investment will continue the Port of Baltimore's national leadership in the ro-ro business and also automobiles cargoes. In addition, our focus on safety and the environment, the department will continue to make strategic investments that support families and the economy throughout the state. Some examples include the funding of the Howard Street Tunnel to support the growth of the Port of Baltimore, with its creation of thousands of family-sustained jobs as we improve the double stacking opportunities at the Port of Baltimore. Funding the AB Connector project to support the continued operations of passenger experience at BWI Thurgood Marshall. Funding the Amtrak's historic investment in the Maryland Rail, including the Frederick Douglass Tunnel, the Bush River Bridge, the Gunpowder River Bridge, and the Susquehanna River Bridge projects. Obviously, rebuilding the Francis Scott Key Bridge and supporting the project development process for the Baltimore Red Line. Additionally, as many of you here know, MDOT has been actively working with the Baltimore Region Transit Commission to ensure the region has a seat at the table in the future Maryland Transit Administration system. We appreciate your continued collaboration as we identify opportunities to enhance high-quality transit service, especially for those most reliant on the service across the region. Inclusive of all these priorities I just mentioned, MDOT's effort to establish a transparent, data-driven prioritization program for our capital program. MDOT maintains largely the same capital budgeting process as one I managed many years ago at the department. To be more transparent, accountable, and ensure MDOT is maximizing its finite resources to achieve the state's goals, I have directed MDOT team to develop a new capital budgeting prioritization process for highway, transit, and bike ped expansion projects. This new process responds to direction provided by the Commission on Transportation Revenues and Infrastructure Needs, the Train Commission, as well as the governor's more directive to create a safer, more affordable, more competitive state that leaves no one behind. The process to develop this new capitalization prioritization program is important as the end product. I look forward to engaging with you and all further about how our shared priorities to meet our shared priorities. We have engaged with some of you already and look forward to engaging further with the BRTB and a number of jurisdictions during development of this program. In closing, this draft CT presents a challenging roadmap for MDOT for sure and for our local governments. However, the department will continue to follow the data and make strategic investments that support Maryland's families in a fiscally responsible manner. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss MDOT's 6-year capital budget. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Oh, hearing none, Mr. Secretary, once again, we thank you so much for your time and joining us here today.
Hey, Tony.
Go ahead. Clarence from Howard County has a question.
Yeah, sorry about that. Secretary Whitfield, I know some counties have already provided some comments. Will those comments be reflected or responded on after the finalization of the draft?
Yes, yeah. So what we do is we will basically gather everything that we have. Just we do take quite detailed notes at all the thing, and then basically when we start to come out with it, when we finalize the program, that's how we'll respond. So we know, a lot of requests, and we'll address those either with ability to move forward or explain why we can't.
Thank you.
Of course.
Mr. Chairman, a question? Secretary, from Annapolis here. Thanks for coming to today's meeting. At the last year, I recall that there were funds removed from Interstate 97's design and expansion. But I believe the mention was made that this would not delay the actual capital and construction budget, that these were early engineering dollars that were postponed. What does this year's CTP call for with respect to 97?
Sure. And it's not only 97, to be frank, it's really across the state. What we did last year, if you recall, we pulled any funding that was for construction that wasn't under construction, and we were trying to maintain engineering planning, that level of it,
Yes.
what we in the D&E program. This year, with the additional reduction of funds, what the prioritization was, we have to cover debt, and then we wanted to cover operating, because operating either results in reduction of service across the system, particularly in the transit side, because the largest portion of our operating budget is on transit. So basically, we felt it was important to keep that commitment. So that left us with very few options. So what we've done is we've looked across the entire program, and anything that was in the development evaluation portion, we look for a logical point to basically halt that, defer it until we get additional funds. But at the same time, some of these projects, literally we have thousands of projects, where basically State Highway particularly has been going through their entire program to see if there's things within projects that we can do with pure safety dollars that are federal eligible. Our issue is not overall funding, it's state dollars. Because you need the state dollars, obviously we get much more bang for the dollar to apply the state with the federal match. But all the state dollars, the majority of state dollars will be need up both in terms of debt and operating. So that's where the squeeze is. So in case of I-97 specifically, what that means, I don't have anybody from State Highway on, and we can get back to you on the specifics. But basically what we're looking, wherever there is a logical point to basically stop that, hold that in a holding pattern until additional revenues come, then we'll start that back up. We're doing that literally for thousands of projects. And again, for some of the smaller ones, so for instance, at an intersection or something like that, if we can make it a pure safety related or break out a pure safety related element of it, we will go after those federal dollars and do that. So that is really what's going on. And to get back to the question from Mr. Dickerson in Howard County, that's where you will also see some of those potentially projects coming back in the final program. That would show that, because we've done the work to see where we can deliver more projects with pure 100% federal dollars.
As a follow-up, when will we know if the safety program will be able to fund safety improvements on 97?
It'll be by the January 15th when we resubmit the final program for consideration by the General Assembly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these items are still being worked out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good morning, Secretary. Nice to see you again. I know that we just had our CTP, but just because we have all the different counties, everyone represented here, there is one particular question I would like to ask for the group. So with the declining system performance across all the different modes of the kind of transit system there within Baltimore and overall with the deferrals and all of that, how are those deferrals going to affect our competitiveness for winning federal funding for red line construction and potentially federal funding in general, like from a grant standpoint?
Sure. For the red line, the will become a very significant issue when we enter the SIG process, when we go after the construction dollars, because there you have to demonstrate that you're maintaining your existing system. We're not ready to ask for that, but obviously we need to solve this issue before we would do that, because it would rank us much lower. So we're well aware of the need to get to that. But right now, it doesn't stop that. We can continue with the planning process. You know, as you know, we're doing public outreach right now, so we can continue that. But when we get to that decision point of that, we want to enter that competition nationally, we have to make sure we have our house in order, you know, on preserving the existing system. So that is, you know, the much larger issue that we have to deal with.
When do we anticipate getting to that stage?
I'll have someone from MTA get back to you. I don't want to
Okay,
quote
understood.
a number and be wrong.
All right, appreciate that. Thank
It's not right now. I can tell you that. It's not like in the immediate future. I can tell you that. It's not, but it is coming because we want to get that project moving, as you know.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, all is quiet. And once again, Mr. Secretary, thank you for your time today. In saying that, is there any other business to come before the BRTB?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, before I sign off, I'm sorry. I just wanted to thank, you know, all the staff, you know, that we deal with day in, day out, do a fantastic job, you know, at all the counties and municipalities. And I just want to thank you because, you know, these are tough times. I know that they're facing tough times as well with some of their budgets and the pressures they're under. But I think that we maintain a positive working relationship. I think it's so important. And I think we've done that and we'll continue to do that. And I know we're committed to do that. I know you are. I know everyone on this call is. I just wanted to thank you. That's all.
Yep, thank you. I know everybody appreciates that. Does anyone else have any business to come before the board?
Mr. Chair, staff has no other business for the BRTB for this month.
Okay, hearing none, I call for a vote to close this meeting. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, the next meeting of the BRTB is scheduled for November the 19th. I thank you all. Everybody have a great day.